Hello everybody and welcome back to Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson, and today I have a propagation to pot video for you, and this video is all about my Hoya carnosa propagations that I pruned off this beautiful Hoya carnosa plant in front of me here. This plant is also known out there as the Hoya carnosa splash, and you'll be able to see why. It has lovely silvery splashing on the leaves, but it's a beautiful Hoya carnosa. And before I do anything else, I need to bring in my propagations so you can see how beautiful the roots have been doing on this plant. Now, these beautiful cuttings I have here have been propagating in this vase now for 6 weeks. But I didn't need to wait 6 weeks to pot up these plants. They had roots and were ready to be potted up after 1 month. But I just haven't had time to get in and make this video, so they've been sitting and growing more roots the last 2 weeks as well. And now I'm going to get them out and show you them, because these roots are absolutely beautiful. And these have just worked out so well. They have been in my windowsill that is east facing, but it's under a kind of high ledge outside of our apartment. So they don't really get any bright direct light, but they get the sunlight that kind of filters through the window. And they've been very happy about that. So if you haven't seen the video where I pruned my mother plant, then you need to go back and see that video and then come back so you can see how I took the cuttings before they got to this stage. So let's start taking them out and have a closer look. I don't know how stuck they are in this vase. Oh, they're very easy to get out. Okay, so let's put the vase down. Drip water everywhere, but that's quite all right. Look at those beautiful healthy leaves first. Aren't they gorgeous? These propagations have been very happy, as you can see. They're shiny, they're beautiful. Look at these leaves. There's not the slightest thing wrong with these propagations. And then look at these roots. Aren't they amazing? Beautiful, white, healthy, luscious. And when I made these cuttings, I put them into bundles so it would be easier for me to keep them above the water. And well, now I need to be careful. Oh gosh, because all the roots are actually tied together, which is not so good. I'm going to show you. I can get them apart. I hope. They're very stuck together. I don't want to damage them now, do I? Oh dear, this is, yeah. So there we go. There's the first bundle. And look at all those lovely roots, all the way up and down the stems. So remember, as I said in my previous video, leave as much stem as possible underneath the 2 top leaves. You prune so that you have 2 leaves at the top and then all the way down to the next set of leaves, so that you get as much stem as possible for roots to come out, as you can see on these, making sure there's enough area for roots, and then you'll be able to put these straight down into the soil, lovely and deep, and your plant will take off wonderfully. And so these have 2 lovely leaves on each one, and I will have to just go in and cut off the twine so that I can place these as I wish around the pot. So that was the first one. Put it back in the water a minute. Then I have some more bundles here. Oh, these roots are very tied together. Whose root is what? So there's another one. Absolutely beautiful roots. And oh, I've just noticed something wonderful about this one. It's produced a new baby leaf under propagation. Look at that. So beautiful. That shows that this plant was very happy in there. So that's another one. And then I have one stem. How am I going to get these away from each other? This one is really difficult because I have 2 separate plants, so these ones are a little bit more stuck together as well, but I'm going to tease them apart because, yeah, there we go, that was okay. they kind of stick to each other. But look at this cutting here. It's got roots all the way up the top and all the way down. And this was a lovely big piece that had 4 leaves on it that are absolutely huge and beautiful. I mean, they are so shiny and luscious. This is so ready to be put into my pot. Gorgeous, really gorgeous. So back in with that for a minute. And then I have my last little bundle here with just as many beautiful roots tied together here and lovely leaves at the top again, as you can see here, so fresh and beautiful. So this one is also ready to be repotted. Now, of all the cuttings I took with these Hoyas, I have had 100% success. Not a single tendril has rotted out, and there isn't a single tendril that hasn't produced a lot of beautiful roots. So my idea of filling out a little bit bigger pot with this plant so I get a thicker, bushier effect quite quickly from my original plant is coming together very quickly. As I said, this is 6 weeks later, and I didn't need to wait that long, 1 month max, and I could have put these all into the bigger pot. So now I just want to show you the mother plant I had where I took all these cuttings from and how she is doing due to being pruned. So this is my beautiful mother plant here, and it's been in this lovely terracotta pot. It's loved that. I've kept it moist because it was a cutting itself when I got it that had been water propagated, and this was the first time it had been put into soil. So this is also 6 weeks later from this plant being put in soil from water propagations, and let's have a look closer at how it's looking. So look at this plant. I can't tip it up too much because I put beautiful quartz rocks on the top of the soil that I found when I've been out round and about, and you know I love my crystals too, so merging my gardens and crystals together in this pot is absolutely beautiful. And the thing I want to show you about this plant is it has produced lovely new leaves where I pruned back the tendrils. So this leaf you see here that is slightly lighter green is a whole new leaf. Look at that. That is a whole new leaf. So this plant has just flushed out in 6 weeks a whole new leaf. And if I should go to the back here, that leaf at the bottom there is a whole new leaf. Absolutely gorgeous. And let's have a little closer look and see if there's anything else. So I have a new leaf there, and I can see another leaf bud coming out of that one there. And this one at the back here, as I said, produced a new leaf. So that's carrying on. And this one here, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it, but there's one here also, down here at the bottom. It's very small, but there is a new leaf coming out at the bottom there. So basically, every single tendril in this pot is flushing out new tendrils with new fresh leaves. So this plant is just taking off. It's going to take no time to become a beautiful beast for me. So look at that. This plant is really enjoying this terracotta pot and the moisture that I'm giving it, the lovely crystal stones at the top, the soil that is an aerating gardening mix with leca balls and perlite and wood chunks and sand. So well, basically now I can't wait to get this mother plant into the middle of my new larger terracotta pot and place the smaller ones around the edge to make a beautiful big bushy plant. So I just want to show you the size comparison difference between the two terracotta pots that I am going to be repotting my Hoya carnosa in. This one here, and then this big one here. So there'll be space to put all of those babies around the edge. And in the next 6 weeks, all of those will produce more leaves, and I will have a big, beautiful bushy plant. And it was just as easy as that. No problem whatsoever, people, with propagating this type of Hoya. It's so easy. Just get in there, like you saw in my last video, prune back, and then pot up your plant and make yourselves happy. Because I am really happy now. I would just say that normally it is not advised to go and pot up Hoyas in much bigger pots because they are kind of epiphytic plants, and too much soil could create too much moisture and rot out your plants. These are plants that really do like to dry out in between watering when they're established. So I've been keeping this one kind of moist because it's new. So I will be doing that with this whole lot for a while. But once they're established, I will be letting them dry out in between waterings. The plant behind me here, this is a lovely Hoya pubicalyx splash. And that I also potted up into a larger pot. And I've left that to dry out. And recently just watered it again, but I've used a water gauge just to check the soil and right down into the soil to make sure it's not got any build-up of too much moisture. This plant is doing really well for me as well. It has grown up out of the top of this wonderful frame I put it in, and it's starting to produce lovely leaves all the way up to the top of this frame, which is so wonderful. And has also happened so quickly. If you go back and see my repotting and staking of this plant, you will see that it is kind of bare at the top and now it has a few leaves coming out. So I'm really pleased with that. And in that video, I snapped a tiny piece of a top part of one of the tendrils, a little tiny end piece, and I want to bring that in to show you what happened with it because I decided to propagate it. And this is the result so far. So in this little glass vase I have here, I have the cutting. And if I should take it out, this is a tiny little end piece of a tendril. And you will have people out there saying to you, if you prune those off your plant or if you are doing propagations, don't bother keeping this part because it will never root because it's too small and there's nothing going on it. No! They are not telling you the truth. The truth is, every single part of the tendril of your plant can be propagated and will be a success in the right situation. This little tiny stem for me has produced roots. Look at the bottom of this stem. I know it's very hard to see and I can't get closer to the camera because it would just go fuzzy, but you can see a little tiny white kind of dot hanging out of the bottom. That is roots growing out of the bottom of this tiny piece of tendril. So this Hoya pubicalyx splash is on the way to rooting out for me in propagation, and I will be able to pot that up in a couple of weeks. So that just goes to prove to you that even the tiny end piece of your tendrils, if you snap them off, put them in water, you will be able to propagate them and either reintroduce them into the same pot with the rest of your plant or pot up into a new pot and be happy with that, right? I just wanted to show you that because this I am so proud of as well. So right now, let's get on with the repotting of all of this beautiful Hoya carnosa here. The soil I'm using this time that I've made myself is a gardening mix, and in that I have mixed in perlite, probably about 3 cupfuls, bark, quite big chunks, and I mean quite big. I bought the wrong packet, so this time they're quite big chunks. I've put a good 2 cups of those in the mix as well. There are leckables in this, and I've also added bio-coal or biochar, and I've mixed the whole of that up into this pot. Oh, and also some fine sand, a little bit of fine sand. Basically, the fine sand was half a cup or something like that. All of this just to loosen up the soil as much as possible so that it really doesn't get too compact and that when the plant is watered, the water can filter through the excess water and I can check with my water gauge to see how moist or dry this plant is to be able to go and carry on the cycle of watering. It's very important to remember this plant really doesn't want to be bogged down in water in any way once established because it will rot out. Right. So let me just put some soil in the bottom of this pot and then I'll be ready to get this piece here over. So I'm going to have to get all of my crystal stones out the top. So I might as well do that now and I might as well use the saucer I have here to put all those in. So I'll do this quickly and fast forward. I do love me a few quartz crystals. So now I've got all the quartz out. I'm just going to add the first lower layer of soil into this pot and see how high I need it to be able to get this plant into the middle here. I need to pull up my sleeves for this. I love my hands in the soil. So now I've filled it halfway up with soil. I'm going to see if I can't just tip this pot here up and get this plant into the other pot as easy as possible, but I'm not sure about this. I would love it to come out like a little sand castle, but that's probably not going to happen. Oh, not too bad, but I'm kind of stuck right now because my hand is stuck in the bottom of this pot and I can't put it down. Ow. Oh, right. I can turn this plant, it looks like, upside down, straight into this pot. Oh, but I feel like it's not deep enough yet. More soil. Just like that. Yes, that was fine. Right, now, I need to hold it up while I get soil around the edge. I didn't take the rug up off my floor to do this video today. So now I'm getting it all over the place, making extra work for me to have to go and hoover up and tidy up after. But I don't care. So, around this side. Oh, this is gorgeous. I'm having to hold it together in the middle as I do it, so it's a bit difficult. So, and then I have a last corner here to put a little bit more in. And that was the first layer of soil. So I just want to show you my mother plant in a new bigger pot and all the space there is around her so that you'll be able to appreciate how wonderful it's going to look when I put all her cuttings back in place around her. So look at that. Lovely, beautiful plant, but with lots of space left for the cuttings. Look at that lovely new leaf again. I just think it's gorgeous. Ugh. So now it's just a matter of getting my bundles that I created here and cutting off the bit of twine and placing all of these lovely cuttings that have propagated so well. Oops, oh. Those roots really do stick together, so you do need to be careful when you take them out. All of these lovely bundles. Try and separate the stems again. Take some scissors and get the twine off. If I can. Just be very careful when you cut off the twine if it's too tight around like mine is here. Wait. Snip, snip, snip. And get this twine off. Just be careful taking off the twine because some of the roots will have grown into it maybe. But now, I have all these pieces, separate pieces now. And remember, as I said, these roots stick so well together, but I have all these separate pieces to put around the pot. We'll take this first one here. It's got lovely leaves that fall forward here. So I'm going to put these, where there's a lot more leafage going on here, I'm going to put one that's a little bit smaller. So we'll go in here, make a hole, because the soil is so soft and easy to move. I can make a lovely deep hole with my fingers, put my cutting in, and then backfill around, as simple as that. And then just compact the soil a little bit around, make sure it's feeling nice and firm. There, so that's the first one in. And then I have this one with lovely roots all over, a leaf here. Again, a nice big hole, a deep hole because it's very deep now, very long, very deep. Which is good. I know it gets right down into the pot straight away so that the roots won't just dry out on the surface level. And then backfill around, compact a little bit, and that is my second cutting added. Now, around we go. Next one, lovely long one with roots at the bottom and some at the top here. So we'll put this in here. Need to make a very deep hole for this one. Which I've done. In with that and backfill the hole. Firm it down. This is going so well. I can add more soil after, so this is just for now. That's the next one. And then I have another bundle. I have this beautiful big one here that was just an absolutely gorgeous specimen, all of its own with all these leaves. This is just going to fill out this pot straight away. And I had a much bigger opening over here. So that is exactly where this one is going to go. So right here, and then I can feel around it where I feel like I need to fill up the space more. Nice big deep hole. Get all of these roots in, and then in she goes. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So she's in, firm her down, just like that. Absolutely wonderful. And now, what have I got left? I've got a couple more in here and a little one down here that has the new leaf coming out. So this is just looking absolutely wonderful already. It's filled out already a lot. I have this bundle here with all these roots now, and I'm going to try and take the twine off so that I can spread them around in the pot as I wish. I don't have the best scissors for this. My scissors aren't very sharp. So I would suggest that you get yourself a good sharp pair of scissors when you do this part. This twine has come off. Oops, all over the place. And now I have 3 more pieces to be able to put into my pot. So this little one here, I want to put in here where I have a lot more. So I'll just make a little hole here. Put it straight in. And then backfill, firming down as I go. And then I have this one here. Where am I feeling more empty? I've got one there. I could put this one down here underneath here. Back. Deep hole. In with the roots. All the way down into the soil. And then backfill. I have this one here that I'm going to be putting into a separate pot, because I have a wonderful neighbour close to me that has given me a couple of cuttings from some of her plants, and she deserves one of my lovely Hoya cuttings. And I got this plant as a gift from one of my viewers, and this is me paying it forward to a neighbour so she can go on and produce herself a lovely plant as well. So this one is for my neighbour. So where's my pot to pot that up? I have a little black pot ready here. Soil. Fill it up. Put the plant in, and then I'll compact it down afterwards. Straight into the pot, just like that. And then soil around. Compact a little bit. And then a little bit more soil around the top. So that's a lovely little cutting for my neighbour. And now I just have my last little bundle here and need to get the twine off, and then I can put those into my pot. So I think I managed to get the twine off now. Yep, the twine is off. So now I've got 3 more, I think, or more. 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So now I've got 4 more little pieces to get into my pot here. Another leaf here, I think. Hole. Deep. In with that. I need to go a little bit deeper. Can't get my finger in there. So use the scissors. That was deep enough. And then backfill around that. Wonderful. And then I have this lovely one here, a little one, that I want to put in here. Make a little hole here. In with that. Backfill. So that's going to come up there. And then a couple more little stems here. This little stem I have here is just full of roots, but it will grow leaves because it's got roots all the way along the stem. So we'll just place it in around the edge. Actually, I want to put this one with a lovely little leaf and a new leaf coming up in this hole here first. I've decided. So that's going in there. So, and now for my little stem as the last piece. I'll put it in at the back here. So I was thinking of putting some more soil in here, but I don't actually think it needs, well, yeah, a little tiny bit. So I have a little tiny bit of soil left, and I'm just going to put that in around and about where I think the plant needs a little bit more. Because why not? Make sure these roots are covered and all that. Doesn't matter about the mess on top of the plant right now. That can all be washed off when I'm finished. I'm not worried about that. So, here we go. There are just leaves everywhere now, and lots of happy separate parts of the same plant that have been cloned to fill out the rest of this beautiful terracotta pot. And, well, I'm sure they're all going to take off in no time. And there we have it. That's the repotting done. So I just want to give this plant a little tiny bit of a water around the top just to get the soil compacted in around everything, and spray off the leaves a little bit. Put my lovely quartz crystals back on the surface of this pot, and then I'm going to bring it in to give you a closer look. So I've now got my watering can here, and I'm just going to go in and give this plant a little bit of water because all of these new cuttings will need it. And to firm down the soil a little bit, just like that. You don't want them drying out as soon as you put them in the pot, so they do need watering in thoroughly to start with. And as I said, I have them all in a terracotta pot, so I know water can escape from the top, sides and bottom. So that will just about do it for that. And now I just want to spray over the leaves quickly, clean them off a little bit after all of this, and the plant will appreciate it too. There we go. Oh, I nearly forgot my neighbours. So I need to put a little bit of water in this as well to get it started before I take it to her. And also give it a little bit of a spray over on its little leaves here. Nice. So now it's time for me to bring in my beautiful, newly potted Hoya carnosa in a bigger size, and I am thrilled with the outcome of all of this. So look at this, all the way around. Look how full this pot looks already. Absolutely wonderful. Healthy, happy, new leaves being produced, lovely fresh roots, and now in this beautiful soil and pot, this plant can go on and take off for me now and become the mound that I am dreaming of. And with time, I'll be able to go in and make propagations, because I don't want this plant growing out with long tendrils. When the tendrils are around the edge of the pot, close to the bottom, I'll be able to go in and prune those back, make some cuttings, and then I can give them away as gifts, or I can put them in new pots or new arrangements, or whatever I decide I want to do. But this is exactly what I was looking for 6 weeks ago when I potted up my Hoya carnosa propagation that I received. Just have a closer look at these leaves. Absolutely wonderful. Oh, I am so happy about this. So happy about this. I mean, just look at that. A lovely big pot like this already in no time. So look at this beautiful little pot for my neighbour. This little cutting is already growing a new tendril. So in no time, when it grows out longer, my neighbour will be able to go in and prune back every leaf segment and propagate those and fill out her pot in no time and make a big plant like mine. It really doesn't take that long, and it is so simple. So do not be afraid to get in there and prune back your Hoyas. If they're getting long and leggy and so forth, in and prune them, bush out your plant. It's simple. Every part can be saved, even the leaves. You can go ahead and prune and propagate the leaves as well in soil or in water as I have. They may take a little bit longer time, but you can still do it. But the advice I have is make sure you have as much stem underneath a pair of leaves to flush out as many roots as possible, as I said, so that you can get them deep down into the soil and you have a fully fledged plant straight away. Look at that. Just wonderful. And just before I round off my video, I'm just going to bring a couple of my other Hoyas in just to give you a very quick look at them and how they're doing. So this is the first one I want to show you. This is my Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess. She's doing very well. Look at all the colouring in those leaves. And look at these new long tendrils just growing out all over the place. And look at that beautiful dark pink glow on all of these new leaves and stems. This plant is just magical to look at like that. So she's doing really well. And I'm thinking of doing something else with this plant. So keep your eyes peeled because there'll be a video coming up all about that. The next plant I want to quickly show you is my Hoya australis lisa. She's doing very well as well. Look at the lovely coloration going on in those leaves. Absolutely gorgeous too. She has a tendril growing out here and coming out at the top there and so forth. So this plant is actually doing really well for me too. I need to figure out what I want to do with her as well. And then in the background, as I mentioned earlier, I have my absolutely wonderful Hoya pubic splash, which is just racing up that lovely frame that it's on, and the leaves are starting to flush out at the top so that I will have a big huge plant in no time, and I'm really enjoying that plant too. So from me and my beautiful Hoyas, my lovely Hoya carnosa here, Hoya carnosa splash, all I have to say now is thank you very much once again for watching Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be uploaded. And I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye!